Did you know that there are several ways to get from a 1 chord to a 4 chord? I've got more than a dozen ways I'm going to show you right now. And there are probably more. I just didn't think of them while I was making my list. A 1 chord in the key of C is C. The 4 chord is the 4th note of the scale, C, D, E, F. So an F chord is a 4 chord, 1 and 4. The first and most obvious way is to just pick up your fingers and move from 1 to 4. That's common sense, and you probably could figure that one out without me showing it to you. If I'm playing it's just simple. 1, 4, and back to 1. The first method is just to pick up your hands and move from 1 to 4. The next method is probably almost as logical. If you play much at all, you'll know that you can go through a 7th. I'm playing C. Add that B flat into that C chord, and that C chord becomes a 7th, a C7th. Okay? And that 7th just kind of, if you hear that, it just lets you know that something's coming. It kind of makes it even more emphatic that you're headed to a 4 chord. Again, 1, there's the 7th, 4, so you can use a 7th. And if you can use a 7th, then you could also use a 9th, 11th, or a 13th, because they all function like a 7th chord. So, there's the 9th chord. It's exactly the same thing. That 7th has to be there to make it a 9th chord. Otherwise, that D is just a 2. From C, it's a 2. But with the 7, that 2 becomes a 9. 7 plus 2 is always 9. So 1 takes me to 4. Okay? So you can use a 7th, you can use a 9th. How about an 11th? There is a C 11th. It's a C octave with a B flat chord in the right hand. Let me spell it out. C is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So if I take away my left hand, I'm left with B flat, D, and F. A B flat chord over a C is a C 11th. And there are some times when the melody is on D and an 11th chord is the proper thing to use. That time I actually combined the 11 and the 9th. Watch it. C, 11, and there's the 9, and 4 to 1. And equally as easy is the 13th. So, and even with the same melody note, you have a choice between the 11th or the 13th. Watch. That is a C13. Okay? Let me spell it out. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. That A, which is technically the 6th note of the scale, if I just played a C chord with that note, I've got a C6. A lot of people end a song with a 6th. A 6 added to the chord is just a 6th, C6, until you add the 7th. You hear how that changes the function? It functions like a 7th. 6 plus 7 is always 13. So that 7th is what shoves the 9th, 11th, and 13th into a new dimension. The 9th is a 2 until you add the 7th, then it becomes a 9. The 11th is a 4 until you add the 7th, then it becomes an 11, 4 plus 7. And the 6 is a 6th chord until you add the 7th, then it becomes a 13th. Because the function is different. 1. So 7, 9, 11, 13 all function pretty much the same. A lot of times, which one you use will be dictated by whatever the melody note is, if you're playing a melody. Or if somebody's singing it, it's probably best that you match what they're singing. So a lot of times, that note, whatever the melody is at that moment, will help you decide which one to use. 7, 9, 11, 13. All right, well, what else could we do? We could actually throw in a 5 minor before we go to the 1/7. I'm in 1. You've heard that before. Here's 1, 5 minor, 1/7, 4. Very common. That's another method. And then, of course, another very common that we really don't even think about is just a simple walk up with the bass. Pretty simple, but that's another method to keep from having to do it the same way every time. Walk it up. You can use both hands. Now that was a combination. I'm walking up. That's really the 5 minor with a D in the bass, okay? So it's 1, 5 minor, and this is a C7 with the E in the bass. So I'm using a combination of two, the walk up and the 5 minor 1/7. However you want to do it. That works well. And then another one that I really like, probably not used nearly as often, if I go 1, I really like that. It's a 5/3 and then a Neapolitan augmented 11th. How's that for a mouthful? I play 1, 5/3, so it's G over A. And then this is an F sharp augmented 11th. Should I spell that out? G flat, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 makes an E chord in the right hand. Okay? So I'm playing C, which is 1. I like that. You can do that in a lot of slower songs. It doesn't do too much when you're in a fast song, but 1, 5/3, Neapolitan augmented 11, 4. Okay? And of course, to hitchhike on that idea, you can lose the 5/3 and just go straight to the Neapolitan 9. Okay? So G flat is the Neapolitan. Neapolitan is a major chord, half step above wherever you're headed. I guess I should have explained that ahead of time, shouldn't I? It's a major chord, a half step above where you want to be. In this case, I want to go to F. So the Neapolitan would be the F sharp major, but let's make it an F sharp 9th or a G flat 9th. You're probably more used to that. Left hand, a typical 9th chord would be G flat, D flat. Right hand, B flat, E, A flat. If you have a melody that's B flat, you can add it. You don't have to. Either way. Okay, that's kind of nice. 1, Neapolitan 9, 4 major 7, 5 13. All right. And of course, since we're dealing with Neapolitans, I suppose the first one we should have used was just the straight Neapolitan major. We would go C, a G flat major down to F. That would work easily as well. We can use tritones as well. We're kind of getting off in a gray area here where the theory doesn't always fit exactly like it should. If I play a 1, do it again. A tritone 2 is an interval that splits an octave exactly in half. E and B flat is the same distance as B flat to E. So when you use these things properly in the left hand, don't want to go too low, it sounds horrible. I can slip that so I'm walking down to F. A tritone E and C is really the middle part of a C chord without the C. So I'm kind of getting there, kind of cheating a little bit. And when you're doing that, you can use pretty much any major chords you want in the right hand. This is a new thing that's come out in the last few years. So I'm going to F. Or you can pretty much any combination of major chords as long as these tritones are with it. It's the bass that's really getting you to F. The right hand. You see, just any number of combinations you can use. If you sit on it and just think about it and try to analyze it, it's not going to make sense. But if you're just going through them, you can get from 1 to 4 using those tritones. Not something you want to do constantly because it gets a little crazy, but it's another method to get from 1. Time. All right, how about using just an augmented chord? How about C? C augmented. Very nice. That will get you to F as well. C. The simple way is just raise the G, which is the 5 of the C chord, to a G sharp. You've created an augmented chord, and that will take you to F without doing anything else. I've added the 7th in the left hand, augmented 7th. Now that opens up a whole new can of worms. There's a lot of things we can do with that augmented chord. Very common. C, E, G sharp, C. And then put your thumb where that little finger is. And if you need more time, you got more time to fill, you can mess around with it, do anything you want with that arpeggiated chord. Or another thing I really like to do when there's an augmented chord involved is a whole tone scale, something really different. Nice sound. Whole tone scale. 3 black notes, 3 white notes. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, C, D, E. Repeat. 1. Very nice. Augmented chord. Earlier I mentioned a 5 minor and then a 1-7 will take me to 4. We can also use the 5 minor and go back to a 1 with a sharp 1 and a double flatted 7th. This is going to be cool. So 5 minor. 1, 5. Do that again. And then a C7 in the left hand. Right hand is an A major chord in any combination. Doesn't have to be any certain inversion. Not so hot by itself, but when it's all together. 1. Do it again. This is a 1 chord with the 1 sharp and the 7th double flatted. Alright, let's spell it out. Let's make a C9. C and G, E, B flat D. 1, 5, 3, 7, 9. Sometimes I like to play the 7th in the left hand. That's not a problem either. Especially in this case since I'm going to abandon the 7th in the right hand. So I will move that 5 to a 7. So in the left hand, C and B flat. Right hand, E, and then the 7th, which is already flatted. If I flat it again, double flat it. Okay? 1 is C. If I sharp that, I've got a raised 1, a sharp 1, and a double flatted 7th. Very common chord. If you listen, you'll hear this combination quite a bit. The C7 in the left hand. Right hand's an A major chord. 3, double flatted 7th, sharp 1. Very common. 1. Again. There's that combination of the 7th on the left hand, double flatted 7th, and the sharp 1.